Hey everybody! You know, the weather started warming up the other day and I decided it was time to clean my shop. And I started digging around and I thought, oh, I gotta show somebody this. I got something that I think you guys would like to see today. You know, when I was a kid growing up on a farm, I always admired the windmill in the center of the yard. That windmill would squeak and turn all day long and I thought, wow, that's really something, pumping that water for the cattle. Well, one day I used to lay down underneath that windmill on the grass, clover, and smell the chamomile around me, and the sun was shining in the blue sky, and that windmill just a turning around, and I've never forgot that. You know what? But now I'm getting older, and I'm thinking, boy, someday I might leave this farm and never see that windmill again. So you know what I decided to do? I decided to make my own windmill, just to take right along with me wherever I go. And I was going to show you, you know, I needed some material to make this windmill, so I started thinking and I patterned it after the old air motor windmill that's sitting in the yard. So I needed some raw material, so I found this house flashing, some galvanized steel, and it was, I don't know, just an odds and end piece, and I thought, well, heck, that'll work. So I thought, well, I dug farther into my pile of tools out there, and I came up with a marking gauge. And you know, I marked that steel off in strips with my marking gauge, and this is an old antique wood marking gauge. It set it for the different width you want. And then you can just go along and make these strips. And I got my old tin shears out, and I cut all these strips, little strips, 1/8 inch wide and some 1/2 inch wide. And then I had all these parts and pieces, and then I started thinking, wow, how are you going to bend all that stuff up? So I dug a little deeper and I found my hand former that I bought at a garage sale one time. And wow, you can bend metal just about any way you want with this thing. Works pretty good too. So I bent everything up for the corner post, and then, well gosh, now how am I going to put all this stuff together? So then I started looking around. And boy, I tell you, it's really hard to find little dinky screws. So I finally found a company down there in Winona, Minnesota, that they had some little screws, really screws, small ones, because you're talking about they got to go through an 1/8 inch steel here width. And then I had to drill all those holes. Now how am I going to do that? Well, I had my Stanley Center scribe, and I marked all those holes, and I drilled them. And by golly, some of them even lined up. So I put this thing together, and you know, I had to have a tail and a fan, and I kind of patterned it after the old one, the old windmill fan. I still got to put air motor on here. But then I thought, you know, this has got to have some good bearings. So I got some brass, and I drilled and made some brass bearings for it to sit on the top of this. The whole thing's made out of that sheet steel, except for this one weight piece on the top. And all it is a hole drilled through it with a shaft, and there's brass tubing for a bearing here, and a piece of a brass pipe out there for a bearing, and it actually works. But I always thought, wow, how neat can it be to have your own little windmill? And now if I could find my little toy tractor I had when I was about 8 years old or 5 years old, whenever it was, and set that next to it, boy, wouldn't that be pretty? But, you know, that's life. I'll keep digging, and I'll be back again with some more of these goodies for you.